I dropped my husband off at the airport for a business trip, kissed him goodbye, and watched him walk through the terminal doors. I thought I was just a normal wife, waving goodbye to a normal husband. I was wrong. As I turned the car around to drive home, my 8-year-old son, Noah, grabbed my arm. His grip was so tight it left bruises. "Mom," he whispered, shaking uncontrollably. "Please don't go home tonight. Dad did something." I looked into his eyes and I saw pure terror. I listened to him, and that decision saved our lives. Because an hour later, from the shadows of a neighbor's driveway, we watched 2 men walk up to our front door. They didn't break in. They used a key. My husband's key. And then they set our world on fire. My name is Sarah. I'm an engineer. I build things to keep people safe. But I never built anything strong enough to protect us from the monster I married.
Before I tell you how I survived, I want to know who was with me. Write in the comments, where are you watching from right now? It helps to know I have people on my side. It was a rainy Thursday night in Seattle. "See you Sunday, babe," Mark said, leaning into the car window. He looked handsome in his suit. "Drive safe, the roads are slick." "Love you," I said. "Love you too." He walked away. I watched him go, feeling lucky. We had been married for 12 years. We had a beautiful house in Lake City that I had designed myself. I was a structural engineer. Mark was in finance. We were the perfect couple, or so I thought. I emerged onto the highway. Noah was quiet in the back seat. Usually he chattered about Minecraft or school, but tonight he was staring out the window, twisting his seatbelt strap. "You okay, honey?" I asked, looking in the rearview mirror. He didn't answer. "Noah?" Suddenly, he reached forward and grabbed my arm. "Mom, stop!" "What? Don't go home. We can't go home tonight." His voice was small, trembling. I sighed. "Noah, it's late. You have school tomorrow." "No," he shouted. "Please, Mom, you have to believe me this time." This time. Those words hit me hard. Noah had been anxious lately. He claimed he saw cars watching the house. He claimed he heard Mark talking on the phone in the middle of the night. I had dismissed it as nightmares. But looking at his face now, he wasn't crying. He was terrified. I pulled the car over to the shoulder. "Noah, look at me. What did you hear?" He took a shaky breath. "Dad was on the phone this morning, in the garage. He thought I was asleep. He told someone. He told them you would be home alone with me tonight. He said we were collateral damage." My blood ran cold. Collateral damage? That wasn't a phrase an 8-year-old made up. My engineer brain kicked in. Calculate the risk. If he's lying, we sleep at a motel and I feel silly. If he's telling the truth and I go home, we die. "Okay," I said. "I believe you." Instead of going home, I drove to our neighborhood but parked 3 streets away, under a large oak tree. We walked through the backyards, hiding in the shadows of the bushes across the street from our house. We waited. At 10:45 p.m., a black van rolled down the street. It had no lights on. It stopped in front of our house. 2 men got out. They were wearing hoodies and carrying red gas cans. I reached for my phone to call 911, but I stopped. One of the men walked up to the front door. He didn't kick it. He didn't pick the lock. He pulled a shiny silver key from his pocket. My breath hitched. There were only 3 keys to our house. Mine, Mark's, and the spare in the lockbox, which only Mark and I knew the code to. He unlocked the door. They walked inside. 5 minutes later, an orange glow erupted in the living room window. Then the kitchen, then the bedrooms. They walked out calmly, got in the van, and drove away. My house, the home I had designed, the nursery where I rocked Noah to sleep, was consumed by flames in seconds. They had used an accelerant. It was professional. Noah buried his face in my coat. He sobbed. I told you Dad did it." I held him tight, tears streaming down my face. My husband didn't just leave us. He tried to burn us alive. The fire trucks arrived, but it was too late. The house was an inferno. I didn't call Mark. I didn't let anyone know we were alive yet. I took Noah to a cheap motel near the airport. I paid cash. "Why aren't we telling the police?" Noah asked.
Because, I said, pacing the small room, if we tell them now, Dad will say it was an accident. He'll say he lost his key. We need proof. I remembered something. Mark's car. He had driven his sedan to the airport yesterday and left it in long-term parking. He took the Uber today to keep up appearances. Stay here, Noah. Lock the door. Do not open it for anyone. I drove back to the airport at 2 a.m. I found Mark's car in the parking garage. I used my spare key to open it. I tore that car apart. I checked the glove box, the trunk, under the seats, and then I found it. Taped under the passenger seat was a burner phone. I turned it on, 12% battery. I opened the texts. To C. It's done. The key is under the mat. Thursday night. From C. And the wife and kid? Mark. They'll be home. Make it look like a gas leak. Collateral damage. Mark. I get the insurance money on Friday. Then we go to Rio. I took photos of every text. I found the life insurance policy in the trunk. He had doubled the payout on me last month. $4 million. He valued my life and our son's life at $4 million. The next morning, I called the one person I could trust, Arthur Vance. He was my father's old lawyer, a pit bull in a suit. I met him at a diner. I showed him the photos. Arthur's face went pale. Sarah, this is a death row case, but we have a problem. What? The phone. His lawyer will say you planted it, or that someone stole his car. We need a confession. We need him to say it out loud. How? I asked. Arthur smiled grimly. We make him think you're dead, and then you haunt him. The plan was set. Detective Wilson, a friend of Arthur's, agreed to help. He was disgusted by what he saw. We'll wire you up, Wilson said. We'll have undercover officers in the coffee shop. You walk in. He thinks you're burned to death last night. Let's see how he reacts. Arthur sent a text to Mark from a fake number, posing as the fire marshal. Mr. Harmon, we found remains in the house. Please meet us at Starbucks on 4th Street to identify personal effects. Mark replied instantly. I'll be there. Saturday morning, 10 a.m. I sat in the back of the coffee shop wearing a hoodie and sunglasses. Detective Wilson was in a van outside listening. Mark walked in. He looked devastated. He was crying fake tears, asking the barista if she had seen the fire marshal. He sat down at a table, checking his watch, probably wondering how soon he could collect the check. I stood up. I took off my sunglasses. I walked over to his table. Hello, Mark. He looked up. The color drained from his face so fast I thought he would faint. He looked like he had seen a ghost. Sarah? He whispered. You're dead? I finished for him. No, Noah and I decided to go for a walk last night, right before your friends showed up. He started shaking. I don't know what you mean. The men with the key, Mark. The men you texted on your burner phone? I slammed the printed screenshots of his texts onto the table. Collateral damage? I asked, my voice rising. Our son? He looked around the cafe. He leaned in, his voice dropping to a hiss. You think you're smart, Sarah? You have no idea. Why? I asked. Just tell me why. He laughed, a cold, dead sound. Because I was drowning. I owe $500,000 to loan sharks. And you and that kid are expensive. I needed a restart. I have a woman waiting for me in Brazil. You were just in the way. So you decided to burn us alive? It was going to be quick, he said, as if he was doing me a favor. You wouldn't have felt a thing. It was mercy, Sarah. Mercy, I repeated. Yes, and now? Now you've ruined it. But guess what? Nobody will believe you. Are you sure about that? I asked. I unzipped my hoodie and pointed to the wire taped to my chest. Mark's eyes bulged. Police! Detective Wilson shouted, bursting through the door. The barista pulled a badge. The couple at the next table drew their weapons. Mark tried to run, but Wilson tackled him to the ground before he even reached the door. As they cuffed him, he screamed at me. You ruined everything. You were supposed to die. I stood over him, looking down. I'm an engineer, Mark. I fix broken things.
and I just fixed our lives by getting rid of you.
The trial was short. Mark's confession on the wire was damning. Chloe turned on him instantly to save herself. She testified that Mark had planned the fire for months. She admitted he studied my blueprints to make it look like a structural failure, blaming me for my own death. Mark was sentenced to 40 years in prison for attempted murder, arson, and conspiracy. He will be an old man when he gets out, if he gets out. I sold the land where our house stood. I couldn't rebuild there. Too many ghosts. We moved to a smaller house near the coast. No gas lines. All electric. Noah insisted on that. Noah is in therapy. He has nightmares about smoke. But he's healing. He plays baseball now. He laughs again. Sometimes he asks me, "Why did Dad do it?" I tell him the truth. Because he was broken, Noah. And he tried to break us, but we were stronger. I still teach engineering, but now I teach a special class on safety systems. My students think I'm intense about safety checks. They don't know why. They don't know that I learned the hard way that the most dangerous structural failure isn't in the walls. It's in the people you trust. Mark writes me letters from prison. He says he's sorry. He says he loves us. I burn them, unopened, in the fireplace. It's the only fire I allow in my life now. Conclusion. If you are listening to this, and you have a gut feeling that something is wrong in your relationship, listen to it. Listen to your children. They see things we ignore. My son saved my life because he was brave enough to speak up. Don't ignore the red flags, because sometimes the person sleeping next to you is dreaming of a life without you. My name is Sarah, and I survived the fire.